Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly, and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on ENFY. We love agriculture company that sells fruits, vegetables, flowers, and seeds, and they sell Bitcoin.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that check and it's gone.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Laughing Stock. Dane, we have been gone for a little bit, but we are back now, and with good timing, I think. How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. We were just speaking a little bit about the intro ticker here, and Lightify. What are your thoughts?
I think they need to repurchase Bitcoin.
Yeah, they seem to have sold all their Bitcoin or something, right?
Yeah, it's looks like the flowers side of the business isn't doing as well.
No. Well, I am very impressed that you do.
To be honest, though, the company's worth $3,000. We can just go buy this right now if you want to own it.
We should buy it and change it to ENFYAI.
There you go.
That's
We're going to
our
change
business
it from
model.
Bitcoin to AI.
So
that'll take off.
When you think you have seen it all, you find an agriculture company that have it in the business description that they also sell Bitcoin. So.
True.
Yeah. No, another beautiful company. Value is, of course, already on his way to check this out and do some in-depth research here.
Value's our field correspondents now. Thank you.
Yeah. So we are relying on some intel very soon, you know.
Yeah, if you don't do good scuttlebutt, you're not gonna find companies like Lightify.
No, definitely not. No, but what do you think, Dane? It's been quite a what should you say, like the last couple of weeks?
I'd say 2 weeks have just been nutty.
Been impressive. I'm gonna jump into the charts here. Like you know, I have this indicator on my indices chart here, and just like last week or whatever it was, it started to come some color here again after a long period where it was no colors. It just indicates that the 10-day has gone up above the 20-day, and that they are on the way up. You know. But then it just kept going, and I couldn't believe it almost when it even gapped up yesterday, because the day before it took out the all-time highs, and then it gapped up another one. So probably time for a correction soon, but Yeah, it's been personally, I've had a very good period of time right now. I started to get invested, I think, again in around 8th of April. And then I got more and more heavy in the days after, and I'm fully invested right now.
Yeah, these last 2 weeks have been phenomenal. Just for the overall market to recover like that, especially when nothing's really guaranteed. But I think in general the news is kind of blown through. I think everyone just kind of now anticipates a little bit of a drawn out conflict in terms of, basically getting the straight back open. But no one cares, I guess, because if you look at the chart, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we're at such a bullish point on this chart. I don't know. I wouldn't argue it's quite parabolic yet. I think we maybe have one more day of even going higher. I don't know. Before you start to get that like intelligent correction. But yeah, kind of like what you said too. I mean, it's gained a little bit. Well, I don't know if you said this on the stream, but we were talking right beforehand too. And maybe move a little sideways now for I don't know, at least a day.
Yeah,
Since we've just been flying
would
up.
be healthy, but I'm not gonna complain as soon as long as it continues to go up. But I think Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday was big days this week because it took out these tops where we started to go sideways from October, and I never imagined that it would take such a short time to get back up there. But
Right.
now here we are, and things, like you said, it seems like the market just starts to ignore a little bit the news coming from the conflicts in the Middle East and stuff like that. But of course, if something major comes, let's see how it affects the markets then. But we just also talked oil yesterday. Looked very ugly. Was down 13%. And this chart just looks very weak. This is the oil futures. So
Yeah, I think it's kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's still strong if you look at a historical sense, but I don't think it's
Yeah.
going to stay this elevated. It will. It'll creep down as that straight opens up.
Yeah, and I the way I've set up my system, I have to manually manage my lists, and I updated everything now just before the stream, and the entire week I've been kicking out oil companies, and I kicked out quite a few today because they had dropped below the 50-day simple moving average. But in addition to that, I have found actually some companies that from the oil sector that I think looks good, but that they have not broken out yet, so they might as well break down, in this coming week, and they are just lagging behind the rest a little bit. We have to wait and see, but I just read on the news also before we went on that Iran is now closing the strait again, so maybe maybe get a bounce back in oil, and it can be worth to have them on a list for some day trading opportunities or stuff like that.
Yeah, it's risky on some of those names. Like sometimes I'll see those names pop up in the morning, and like I almost don't want to take them just because I know it's all based on news, and I'd rather not be in something. Don't get me wrong, everything's based on news, but like the ones where if someone says the strait's closed and then it's open, something can jump up and down like crazy amounts. I don't like to take that risk on. So sometimes I avoid those names just because of what I know the catalyst is. But yeah, I've been sticking with the strategy even in this market. I mean, there's names I could have held, and I could have swinged them well, but my overall just ability to keep nagging a few percentages each week, it's been working. So I honestly, I'm sticking with this for a little bit because I'm at all-time highs now for the account, and I say all-time highs since I've been retracking everything. This is post the BNED smack. But I'm trying to think if I go. I was just going to check to see how many weeks in a row I've been up. because it's, I mean, don't get me wrong, I know the markets, but this is even when there's down markets. I mean, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7 weeks in a row now I've been slowly upwards.
That's very strong. And also,
Well, if you look at the market though, that I was able to do that in, I mean, the last 2 weeks are easy, those are easy wins, in general, but this was in that down market, which is why I was, which kind of got me into the strategy in the first place.
so and to me that also screams a little bit like just focus on this setups.
Yeah.
But I know that you have adapted to the environment, because historically breakouts doesn't work really well in the time period where we are talking about here. But I know that you adapted, that you are way more short term, and you take profits the same day, maybe even straight away after purchase and stuff like that. So you just need to adapt.
Yeah, my goal is to just keep working on, it's always I always have like a goal in mind, and obviously a stop loss. But at the same time too, sometimes I just kind of watch it evolve, because you can, as you sit there and you start to watch the charts, even intraday charts, you start to kind of get an appreciation. I don't actually watch the tape, but like I'm just paying attention to the price action in the ranges that things kind of fall into. And if you compare that to the moving averages, you have a pretty good idea, along with volume, where a stock's headed. And it kind of gives you an idea to, like, instead of scalping just a smaller percentage, I can let this one run a little bit. And in my mind, I just keep slowly bringing my stop loss up. And then that way, I'm quick to get out of something, because sometimes some of these things, it's quick, like, it gets a lot of volume and something will pop.
Yeah.
And, when you're taking large position sizes and you're going to just try and snag like a few percent or something like that, or even, a percent, you just have to be quick. But the big thing I've noticed is before I started doing this, I thought it was like things were moving too fast for me, and I wouldn't be able to kind of like keep up with that speed. But I've found now that it's not. I'm able to kind of keep track mentally in my head of what's going on, and as long as your timing's good, it gives you a little bit of a barrier, because usually when you get into something, it usually goes right above where your price is that you bought at. So at least you have that cushion of not immediate, almost immediately being negative, which in that case, if I am immediately negative, I usually just kind of back right out.
And do you raise the stop to break even? How quickly now then?
I mean, it's hard to say, but as soon as I start to get up to like a percent that like feels comfortable and like I would be happy in taking it, it's already at break even for sure, because I'm not taking a loss at that point.
Yeah.
And usually for just a slight gain, because I mean, if you're taking large position sizes, you don't need a ton each day to add up to a few percent each week.
No, and the main focus when you do that strategy, I assume, is just like you say now, is to never have a big drawdown in each purchase.
Yeah, I mean, I keep the obviously the stop loss capped, but if you're comparing it to how much you're getting each week, to the losses, it just, my hit rate's super high doing this. That's the thing that's like crazy. I have to go through and really look, since I've started doing this, what my hit rate is, but it's got to be around like 70%. It's high.
Yeah, which is very good. But you also told me that you use the daily for purchases, but you watch the smaller time frames the entire day in one stock, maybe just to get used to how it moves that day and try to time it right then. And that's also a part of adapting, I guess.
Yeah, and it's not like I watch it super close. It's more just I'm looking for, because like I said, if the goal is to start at, like, when I go into a position, my idea is I'm going to scalp a small amount. That's just the initial goal. But once it hits that initial amount, like I said, that's when the stop loss really kicks in for a positive gain. As well as now I'm watching the intraday chart if I can, to see if it pushes higher. If I can't watch, I just put a trailing. on, and then that way it's kind of locked in no matter what it is. And usually I get stopped out pretty quick doing a trailing one because it's tight, but it's fine. I don't care. I'm just, my goal is just to get that small amount initially. But then some of them start to move up and they continue to move up. So if you're able to take advantage of one of those, then let it ride a little bit. So it's more just watching that, when there is an initial like jump in a stock right as you've gotten in, like your timing was really good, when do you know to get out? Like how much do you let it go up? Or, do you always just sell into strength? Do you let it pull back a little bit? And where do you set those pullbacks to, where if it goes further than that you want to get out, as well as like, and usually I'm just using moving averages. I'm not doing anything super clever. I'm just, if I'm going to let something pull back, like let's say I go into something and it's up 3% for my entrance and it pulls back to the 10-day moving average, which is still like 1% or 2% above where I went in at. If it bounces off that 10 MA, I'm going to stay in. If it starts to really break back down through it, the stop loss just kicks in and gets you out. So it's starting off by just looking for smaller amounts. But if you get lucky and the market gives you a huge win, trying not to trim it too early, because you only need a few of those with large position sizes to really, really, kill it in this,
Yeah, and lately they have existed, many of them, like you said, the last 2 weeks. I have seen stocks that I've been tracking closely up 10% daily on stuff that I wanted to get into.
Right. And my goal is not to capture 10%, but if I can get 4,
yeah,
like that's a huge return in one day.
Yeah. I saw Value is with us, Dane. He's saying, great to see you both back. Thanks, Value. Great to see you back in the comments too. We spoke briefly in the Discord, So yeah, nice to see. I know you have been studying a bit, and that you are also planning to get back into the markets, right? And you have taken some positions already. So I think. That's what we have done too now, Dane. Of course, you have done this also in when the markets was trending down, but I started like, if it was a Wednesday, I don't remember correctly. I was on a holiday actually, and I started to get back in on that 8th of April, and I've been just doing it daily since then, and it has gone. Like you said, it's been a very good period, and I've gone from -5% for the year to up 7%. So I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm back to all-time highs for me. So it's honestly relatively exciting because it's probably the most consistent I've ever been, in trying something, and it's in a short amount of time period.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And I think we all expect some sideways move or even some drops here soon. But if I get stopped on some names, then I'm just gonna keep doing the scans and look for stuff that starts to consolidate. But like you though, I've been adapting a little bit the style to some of my entries has been a bit more like pullback buys or a variation of that, where I have like I said checked on multiple time frames to try to time my entry. So that has been working well since these are my positions right now. I'm in SNDK, I'm in NBIS. MicroStrategy or strategy, I think the name is now ARM, SATS, and IONQ. I took them on Thursday. Was my entry.
When did you get in Lightify?
Which one?
I said, when did you get into it in Lightify? Did you get in on
that? No, that was an all-in bet after markets yesterday.
You bought April 13th?
Dane is talking about this chart again in the intro video. Yeah, I bought 13 on the April because it broke out up above the 200-day moving average there,
Yeah, right there. Great
so
day for it.
I timed it perfect. No,
Yeah.
so these are my positions. I took SNDK here on 8th of April. That was on a pullback, but I almost got stopped out that day, and then the next day, luckily for me, it gave me some cushion, and I've just been raising the stop a little bit here, and I'm right now this past week it has actually consolidated a bit and started to move sideways. And I was saying to Dane before the stream that SNDK can be very much viewed as a leader. It's a very strong stock, and it's on the way to get to $1,000, right? And it has just, if you look at this chart, very clear chart, you know. And right
Yeah.
now it's just moving towards the simple moving averages and letting them catch up a little bit. And maybe that's like, if this is a leading stock, maybe that's what the market will do moving forward a bit, go sideways, you know. And then it will be interesting to look what the SNDK will do in that time period, if it will break out again, or maybe it will do something else. But I kind of like this action here. It needed to rest a little bit, I think. So yeah, I'm not bothered by it. I have raised, like I said, raised the stop. So even if I get stopped out on a bad day here, I will. It's a profitable trade.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dane, about SNDK?
It's good. I've been actually playing AEHR, which is, you know, same kind of, you know, I mean, not the exact same business, obviously, but same field. And same
what
thing.
was
That
that
one's
ticker
been
again?
air
Yeah,
test,
have it, yeah.
AEHR.
Yeah, which
But
they also had an earnings report and heavy volume coming in both after, before and after that earnings report. So strong move here.
yeah, so you know, this is the kind of breakouts that I'm looking for. You know, super strong, good volume coming in, and this is why I said, like, I look at a chart like this, and obviously I you know, this is one that as much of that move as you can capture. That's going to be the goal going forward, because it's just multiple days that some of these things are killing it, and as long as, you know, that's why my screening process, I think, is really kind of what allows this to work, because I'm narrowing it down to only stocks that usually have pretty high ADR and are in really strong uptrends in general. So just when I go into something, the chance of it, you know, moving on a day where it's got, you know, positive action and volume right off the rip, like that's all I'm doing. I'm not doing anything crazy, but
but also in a fantastic group, of course, is the semiconductors, and this is in
Right.
Finwiz. This is categorized as semiconductor equipment and materials, and
Yep.
Semiconductors are very strong looking right now. Everything that is attached to it, and you have all these subcategories in them as well. And this is by far like a clear leading group in the market right now. Together with like crypto miners and also crypto in general, I think starts to look very strong. Some computer hardware and stuff like that. So it's definitely like a little bit like the same groups that were leading in 2025 are starting to lead again, I think.
Yeah, well, this whole AI move is just I mean, look at pull up Birds, Allbirds.
Yeah, I saw Birds.
Because,
I have
like,
them. Yeah.
this is a shoe company that said they're going to transition to AI, and the stock just takes off. And I'm like, does anyone believe that? Does anyone believe that they are going to pull this off? Like,
Yeah.
it's just insane.
Yeah.
But
No, it
I
is
mean,
insane.
people are willing to throw money at it. So
Yeah.
I'll tell
But
you
if
what,
you look
though,
at-
if my sneaker guy starts telling me he's going to build an AI network, I'm not investing in him.
Isn't that like the sign that it's a bubble?
It's not that we're totally in a bubble, but it's a bubble will form because everyone's just wanting to throw money at this.
Yeah.
And it does kind of remind me of the .com era, just in the idea that, like, you know, sure, there's probably going to be a bunch of different AIs out there and people will have their own versions of these things. But when it comes to like the dominant players, there's going to be a few who win. So yeah, there could be 100 AI companies, but there's going to be probably like 3 or 4 that are the main ones that everyone uses and are kind of integrated into stuff. Like, and I mean, you just think about it, you know, Apple's going to pick one for their phone systems. Google's going to use, Gemini and their version of it because that's what they're throwing all their money into. There's just going to be a few major ones that are out there that like it's just like Google. Like, trust me, I'm sure there's other search engines that were decent like Google, but it's tough to use something else just because Google's integrated it into everything, and they're not going to try and lose that. They're going to keep that with Gemini as best they can. So
there's a South Park episode where there's a like a agent, a CIA agent, something that comes in, and he is supposed to be on top of the technology, and he is using Ask Jeeves as his search engine. So that's a good
funny
episode. Yeah. No, I just switched to some of the. Again, I'm using the group names in Finviz, and this is called Capital Markets. Like, these are some of the crypto miners, Cypher. You can see the strength here since the market turned around, basically. Hot, the same.
Cypher, Hut.
Yeah, Riot.
Those are all, BitF. No, you're right. Those are all on my list too.
Yeah, Iron. I tried to take Iron here. I got stopped. A bit annoying. Circle, a bit different. Galaxy. Wolf and SNEX. I'm not sure about this last one, but they look so strong together with, I think, Bitcoin in general has also gone up quite a bit. And like I said, I'm also in MicroStrategy, which has performed. This is my biggest position right now, actually, because it grown into it. I'm up almost 30% on it. I took it. I think it was here 9 of April. And my entry was then based on the Bitcoin chart on a 4-hour time frame here, right here. If I do like a replay here,
the old common 4-hour time frame.
Yeah, because this is a bit special because they are open all the time, So I saw some other guy was. Doing the 4-hour time frame on it, and I pulled it up myself, and you could clearly see like some patterns here. And then I took it on this. It tried to break out a bit here, and then I bought MicroStrategy, and then just a little bit after it did break out here, and since then it has gone up. So if it was luck or not, I don't care. I'm up on it now, and you just see like the Bitcoin chart has. Gone pretty good since then, and my way of being included in that move was to go into MicroStrategy.
No, and honestly, there's so many people that use MicroStrategy as their way of playing Bitcoin. I don't think that's that crazy, but
it moves a bit faster.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. So I have my list, and I never ever sorted by sector and industry. And I'm just like, I'm kind of surprised I have not done that.
It is a bit of a hassle to sort everything manually, but if you do it, you have a little bit of a clearer view in terms of group strength and stuff like that. But even if you have them in groups, you have these subgroups, right? So like photonics and memory and all that stuff that you have to do manually anyway. So. Yeah, I don't know if
but I should be doing this. I should just be every once in a while stacking these so I can see how these all line up together.
Yeah. In the AI project I made, I can click a button and it kind of try to group that stuff together for me. But it is accurate, but sometimes it's missing,
I know the like industry titles aren't always appropriate, but just general, it's almost interesting to see how my list stacks up as I look through it like this. I'm kind of embarrassed to say I haven't been doing this.
Yeah,
but it's all good. I mean, honestly, it just puts a few correlations together that when I see it, I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah. One thing I noticed though, Dane, was that in MicroStrategy, let me see if I can. If you go to their website.
It really is like all tech that's just mind-bogglingly strong.
If you go to their website, they have merch. So I think I will buy these socks.
Wait, what happened?
In MicroStrategy, they are
Oh,
selling
there you
socks.
go.
Yeah.
Wow, those are, you can even tell their images are all AI.
No, look at these legs. They are real.
Yeah, sure.
I will probably buy
Is that
these
how you
socks.
stand?
Yeah, you have to show the calf muscle, you know.
True.
If I get a 50% return on my investment, I'm gonna reinvest into a pair of these socks.
I picture if you go to that business, like everyone inside is like forced to wear this.
Yeah, probably.
And the guy's just like screaming at them the whole time.
Yeah. So no, that's something I'm going to do, I think.
I want that bear.
They have
That's what I-
also have a tie if you want to look sharp. You
I
can
do
have
wear
a-
ties now every day, so it's-
Yeah, you should buy
I
it
could get
then.
my strategy one.
And of course they have a cap and stuff like that. Just bunch of things that if you buy them, they reinvest your purchase into buying Bitcoin. So that it's just a win-win.
Yeah, that it is. Just a win for all.
Yeah. Yeah, and NBIS was one that I tracked for a long time, because if you go to the weekly chart there, they were building like a pretty heavy base. I really like this strong base here.
Yeah.
And then I messed up so many times on 8th of April. I got stopped on it like 3 times in that day alone. And then I managed to get in 9 of April, I think, and has managed to stay in it since then. It did have a little bit of a pullback yesterday, but it's all good. Another strong stock, I think. And then ARM, also a semiconductor name. I took ARM on 9 of April. And it just went up from there. Pretty clean. And then SATS, I think this space was very interesting, and I got involved here on 9 of April on a pullback buy, and I hope that it would it's like a big long cup and handle, and I hope that it would
Yeah,
break
looks good.
out and take out this line here, which is, it has done that now, but I'm a bit disappointed with the moves in the last 3 days on it. Because it didn't, it had the chance to break out properly, and it didn't do it, you know. But this is my smallest position actually, so yeah, I'm still in it. And then like I said, I took IONQ on Thursday, because I noticed all the all the quantum computing names, like Rigetti, IONQ, QMCO, QUBT, QBTS.
Striking back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
there's all the names.
they all had, you know how this works when this group starts to move. I just wanted to try to be involved, and from what I could tell and my thinking, IONQ was looking the strongest, so that's why I took that exact one. But also
Cool.
these have violent moves upwards, and can, over the weekend now, I can get stopped out on this. I'm fully prepared on it. But heavy volume, and I was like thinking, if I can get into this name before it breaks over the 200-day moving average and starts to, maybe make a decent move up from here even, I will be very happy.
Value's saying to make sure you get the physical socks and not just the NFTs.
I found ordering by hold on. I found ordering by industry group when screening is good. Helps to see patterns in various sectors. Yeah, I agree, Value. Make sure you get the physical socks and not just on some on the blockchain. Thanks for the tip. I will make sure that I have the physical ones, and when I hit that 50% mark, I will make sure that I wear them on a stream.
Yeah, otherwise you're gonna be on there and you're gonna see some AI wearing your socks around.
That would be cool though. You can buy your own AI thing and give it close all through
I'm surprised. I'm
MicroStrategy.
surprised they haven't made little virtual AI people yet. Just because
But
I'm
we
picturing like
have-
Cortana from Halo.
we already know the perfect merger because if MicroStrategy merger with dogs,
True.
you can start to put clothes on your pets. So
Yeah. And that's the other thing too is I mean we don't have any robots running on AI. We need some robots running around on AI.
yeah,
What could go wrong with that?
nothing. It's solid, I think.
There's never been any movies about robots with AI, taking over and destroying everything.
No, you just need to think about one thing, Dane. To all the aliens out there, we are also aliens.
True.
So we are
Very good
also
point.
scary.
It's a very good point.
Yeah, maybe we are the top dogs. I also saw like
If we're the top aliens out there, it's pretty disappointing.
yeah,
The rest of the universe is pretty lame.
yeah, but nobody comes and find us, so they struggle with the same issues.
Yeah, I do want to know why the aliens won't talk to us.
Yeah,
Why are they only focused on like very few things, and the governments are holding all these parent crafts?
yeah.
I just want to know when I get to fly one. Sorry guys, I'm on my laptop, by the way. That's why my head looks like it's bouncing all around here. So I'm trying to get comfortable.
You look like a floating AI, like a hologram. You look like.
Imagine this entire time I'm not real. I've just been an AI that's working with you.
That I think that is true actually. you are outperforming to a degree that it's AI like, I think.
I keep seeing people post that on X, and I'm like, people keep posting these things that like this. They have an AI now running like a fund, and I'm like, if this is really working, wouldn't that be killing the markets?
I also saw a study of AI investing, and
Sure,
it was
horrible.
doing terrible, and the comment was like, "Oh yeah, it is actually like a human."
That's the thing. I always joke around like AI is like the smartest and dumbest thing I've ever ran into in my life.
Oh yeah, it's stupid sometimes. I'm
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
very
it's
surprised
frustrating.
actually in a negative way when I've built out the projects that I have, like how limited it is in, even if I feed it like documents and information about some stuff and I ask it, I know how to set it up and stuff like that now, so I'm getting better at the prompts and the wording and everything. And even if I set it up in the best way as I can, it still misses, like, because it's programmed to do it in a certain way, so that urge to do it how it is programmed is so big that it ignores my instruction, and it keeps like failing the simple task of connecting the dots and just keep this in mind and then do an analysis on this topic, and it just struggles to do it in a good, efficient way. I think I have to do it like for 2 hours before I'm happy with the result. That's like the biggest flaw I have experienced when I've been building mine.
Some things take a long time for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I get it. We're still early in these things, so I'm hoping that they continue to get better and better. I mean, it's like search engines when they first had them versus. But I do think I don't know. I'm not as bullish as some people are in terms of like how helpful AI will be going well into the future. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great tool, but I feel like I see limitations in what it's going to do so much quicker than I feel like some people. Some people are like, oh, it's gonna be like a god in like a few years, and I just don't see it.
No, I agree. I have started to, by using it a lot, because I have really used it a lot to investigate things and create things and start to code things. I've been doing a lot of coding, and in that process I've just experienced how limited it is, like I just said, in some areas, and it has made me also realize that there are probably, and of course it will be better and they will figure out some of these things, but there are some big hurdles that I don't think it will ever overcome. For example, I'm using Gemini for a lot of things, and I know the rest of these, if you use Claude Code or something like that, they also cap you after a certain amount of usage, even if you are a pro member.
Right.
And it is to smooth out the experience for everyone. And but of course, the real issue is the computing power, and how, if it's going to be integrated everything we do, how are they going to overcome that? I don't see a solution to it, like because if it's going to grow, and then I'm started to think like it will just limit itself at some point.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, compute is always an issue, but I mean, I don't know. I think the problem is it's still, you're still coding this to do what it does. It's not like, it's still limited no matter what by who codes it. Even if it codes itself, even if it keeps making, because you hear the thing like it's going to get to a point where it makes better and better versions of itself. It's still so limited in like what it can come up with. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong on that one, but
And
as of now, with our current tech, I don't see it being anywhere near what some people are expecting this to be. Like, in terms of, don't get me wrong, I think automation, all that stuff's going to continue to go. Like, I do think there's going to be jobs eliminated from that kind of stuff, and there'll be some backlash from that. But I don't think it'll be so drastic that it's going to like ruin economies. I think people will slowly adjust, and like going into the future, like if you're not going into software, or at least like, being able to work with robots and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think a lot of that stuff's going to be really high demand jobs.
oh, it will be interesting to see, but I agree with you. Like, I don't see it grow into this gigantic thing that will take over the world. But you can already argue that it has taken over the world a little bit. It's very well integrated in everything right now, and we have taken a big step forward with AI already.
Yeah, I think if anything, one of the biggest areas, I wonder how much it's going to be able to help with fraud, because
Yeah.
I think in the financial systems, a lot of transactions are not being monitored, and I think you could really understand the way like criminal organizations work. And I think when there's fraud and waste in governments, I really think if you had a powerful AI looking over the financials of things like that, you can actually eliminate a lot of that, because it would really point it out and explain. It would even be able to explain to you how it's connecting the dots and why it thinks this money's going to somewhere it shouldn't be, and who's involved. Like, I think if there's anything that we could really benefit from right now in society, that would be a big one.
Yeah, let's see. There are, everything connected to it right now is doing really well in stock market. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's, everyone's pumping so much
Yeah.
money into this. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about the fact that the capex that these guys are spending on this, these are traditionally companies that don't spend a lot of their free cash flow. They're spending almost, it comes to the amount of trillions of dollars essentially.
Yeah.
And I think they're amortizing the costs of this, so like, it on the balance sheet right now, it doesn't look like it's super like costly at the moment, but like this is being just split out over long periods of time, so it doesn't look so rough on the balance sheet. So I don't know. I mean, I guess the balance sheet will get affected a little quicker. Yeah, I mean, you may, and you can look at, the cash expenditures, but I don't know.
The
I
main
wonder how much of this is going to actually be valuable.
Yeah, I agree. And this was one of the main point of one of the articles from Berry against the NVIDIA. Like the way they placed things in the balance sheet and talked about the life expectancy of certain parts and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
he had found research that you could more or less half what Nvidia reported in terms of life expectancy. So I think also at some point, like I started this out saying, like at some point it will just create its own limitations, and it will be revealed, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think just even through use, I mean, you start to see it. You know, the first time you got your hands on like a new AI, like when the first time someone uses like ChatGPT, it does seem like it's, you know, like almost magical, like it's amazing what it
Yeah.
can do. But
Yeah.
then as you use it and like you really need it to perform and it can't do things, all of a sudden it quickly sets into reality how limited these things are.
So sometimes I start to fight with my AI.
Yeah. Oh, I talk to it like I talk to myself, which is abusive almost. So,
If it takes over the world, I'm in trouble because I'll call it some
that's why I need
names
to
that
set it
I'm
straight first. I need to let it know that I'm the boss.
yeah, some
So,
discipline. Some
yes, I
discipline is
need to
never wrong.
discipline it. So when it's smarter than I am, I can at least hold that over its head.
Yeah. No, but
But
let's get back to the stocks maybe.
yeah, that's
Another
a
group.
long way of saying that we still think semiconductors and AI are strong.
Yeah, true. And this group also here, communication equipment has been performing really good. This is where Light R and CN, you know, these have been leaders for quite a bit.
LWLG, you got that on your list? That's another one I've been.
Oh yeah, I have it. Where did I have it? Like
That's what I've been trading.
yeah. Here, this one, right? LWLG, Lightwave.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know OptX, that's another one I traded. It had a bad day on Friday where it pulled back to the 20-day MA.
Yeah.
But still a super strong stock. And it's, I mean, I don't know if you have that chart, but look at how well it respects the 50
Oh yeah,
MA.
I have it on the list, yeah.
It just won't break past that point.
Also in one of those subcategories that I talked about with photonics, probably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, photonics enabled products, which has been a very good subcategory for a long time now. I did post in a Discord, Dane, that I saw some gold companies were forming big bases. HYMC was one of them.
I was literally just going to ask you about what your thoughts on gold were.
Yeah, because I've seen SSRM is holding up a little bit. Imagine I bought this at 450 then. Now it's at 32 almost.
Yeah. It hit 36.
Anyways, I sold it way too early, but anyways, HYMC was the reason I like this one was I think this base, if you go to the weekly, no, sorry, I'm confusing a bit now. If you go to the weekly on UAMY, I know UAMY is a bit different, but if you go to UAMY and go back to my view here, the weekly chart looks pretty strong in terms of breakout opportunities. And then
I think these rare metals like antimony and and just gold in general, it's something that the US really needs. So they're going to continue like these. I just think it's early. Same thing with NBA. I just think it's early, and that these things have a lot of room to run still.
Yeah, NBA looks like a good base still.
Yeah, where did that end up? I saw it looked like it was having a decent day on. It pulled back, but at one point it was up a lot. I don't know what was the high? 716. So I mean that's like, what was that?
11%.
What was the low? Yeah, 11% at one point. I saw it and I thought it was up like 10%. I was like, oh wow, NBA's starting to have a day.
Yeah. but also if you look at the HYMC, and something that I've also experimented with a little bit when it comes to these pullbacks is to, I'm not sure if you can have these on all the platforms, but the anchored VWAP in TradingView, you can include it from the menu, the default menu, and I use it like on the. I experiment a little bit. Usually I use it like on the natural place to place it, like the previous high or something like that, or previous bottom. If you placed it here on the previous high, you can see that it respects the anchored VWAP a lot, and especially these two. Look at them; they pull back straight into the anchored VWAP twice. And if I wasn't fully invested, I would have bought on a pullback here on Thursday, which would have been very good today, you know. That's something I've been using lately also. But I couldn't do it. But I really like this long base, and I saw UAMY the day before. They had a strong day, you know. So HYMC, I thought that was a good setup. And another one that I really I was tracking for a long time, and NVTS. Same thing. I couldn't get into it, but the last 2 days on NVTS has been really, really strong.
Yeah, I didn't have this on my list, but that's
I like that base.
Do I have this on my list? I'm surprised that one hasn't popped up for me.
In the semiconductor group as well. And another
I
one,
remember
actually.
seeing it,
Yeah.
but yeah, it is on my list. Okay.
Yeah. Another one that I couldn't get into, but been tracking for was ALB. ALB did have a little bit of a negative day on Friday, but the day before it went up. How much was it? 16%.
Wow. Yeah, some really strong moves in some of the names.
And what I like about all of these that I just went through, together with NBIS that I luckily am still in, they have been consolidating for quite a bit and have created these big bases. And they look good on the weekly chart, you know, and then you get the breakout. So yeah, you know, did you see BNAI, Dane?
I did it pulled back a little bit, right?
Yeah, a big time. It pulled back on
Yeah,
earnings.
but it's still respecting the 50.
Yeah, it did respect the 50, and at the most it was down 43%, but it came back to 31, and then, you know, it's back in the base. I think I'm just a bit, I didn't like that on earnings, but yeah, it can reverse. I think the chart, if you go back to this day and had draw your line a bit different than what I did, like you could have drawn like something like this, and then you got the breakout here. You would have that was a good looking chart.
Yeah, I remember the day that you mentioned it to me. I saw it, but I was in something else at the time. I don't remember what day it was, but you know, by the time I saw this name, I was in something. But
yeah, that was on Monday probably. But yeah, it did get hurt a little bit on the earnings, and I was probably lucky because TradingView they didn't notify that there was actually earnings in that day. So I would probably, because sometimes I'm too lazy now to go and check every stock if the earnings is actually correct in TradingView. So I would probably have held through that day and would have been very surprised when it opened up so red.
yeah, I mean that's why you got to trim, you know,
Yeah.
because you never know. But
No.
but also too, I mean, that's also why, you know, a lot of times like I'm looking at these and I know I talked about this more on the intraday chart, but I will let things pull back a little bit. And even though, you know, there is some risk with doing that, obviously, but sometimes like I just want to see how it reacts to a moving average, because once you see what it does to the moving average, so many times it breaks down through it and then pops right back up and, you know, skyrockets higher. So you kind of have to accept that in the long run.
Yeah.
You know,
I did this.
you hear, keep going.
No, I did the scans just before the stream today, and I noticed that BlackBerry has been moving quite a bit lately. But it's
Yeah, I didn't. But I always am looking for something in the second part of a move. So, but that's a nice first initial move. I agree.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it here, but there's so many charts now that if they start to move sideways, which is probably something they're going to do if we get a correction in the QQQs, you know, the flags will appear, the breakout patterns that we want will appear here.
Yeah, I'm curious. As the market just, you know, has so much volume come back into it, where all these stocks that, you know, are rebounding like this, how much of that is just from the index side of things versus, you know, actually, you know, becoming a true stock that people are investing in?
Yeah.
Because like I look at BlackBerry, and that's always one to me that's kind of, you know, obviously speculative. And I just wonder, you know, is that a real move? Essentially, I get it that it's working, but you know, it's also generally in a downtrend.
Yeah, but I see Nokia is also performing good, right? Yeah, they were. Did you see Rocket Lab? Because I think that was a missed one. You could try it on a pullback here. Pull back to the 50-day moving average on some high volume, and then the next day it just went.
Yeah, it's actually not on my screener, which
wasn't on mine either.
What's the ADR?
Huh?
What's the ADR on Rocket Lab?
6.5 I have.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it didn't pop up on my screen. I don't have it on my screen right now, so it must not be reaching one of my criteria.
Yeah.
But it'll probably pop up. Which I'm not opposed to. Like, you know, one of the things I've noticed when it comes to me doing my strategy now, for instance, if it shows a lot of strength on Monday and it continues to break towards highs, even though we're well into a move now, that doesn't mean I won't take it. So if this happens to be the stock that in the morning shows good volume right off the rip and stuff like that, that doesn't mean I won't take it. Even though I know it's already had a few days up, I'm okay with that, because sometimes you could almost argue on Friday it had a pretty strong move and then pulled back a little bit, which I think a lot of stocks did. I think the indexes got really heavy piled into, but you didn't necessarily see that appreciate in some of these stocks. So
I think,
but who knows? Maybe it just takes time to trickle down from that into this. I don't know when. That's a question I have too. Is and I should know this because it's probably super important to know. But as the indexes get, you know, let's say they go up, how much of that gets re-rated into some of these stocks as the indexes have to adjust and, you know, recalibrate where they're putting all their money?
Yeah,
I'm talking for passive investing, like, you know, those kind of indexes.
Yeah. But an interesting group also moving forward with the what is it called, the Elon Musk SpaceX? They're gonna IPO.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, they have a ridiculous valuation already, rumored to be in the trillions, almost, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I'm not going to be hopping into, just because I don't need to.
No,
but
it can drag with it some other stock in the same space.
True,
like
true. I
Rocket
mean, yeah,
Lab.
it's bullish. I mean, SpaceX is bullish for the entire aerospace industry, just because of what it means, in terms of kind of regaining the focus. I feel like after pretty much into like the 70s and 80s, as the US started to wind down its NASA program, where we weren't launching as much. Obviously, satellites continued to become like a big industry, and that mattered. But other than that, we've kind of been at a standstill for space and everything that comes along with that. And I think this is the first time now you're starting to see everything tick up again, where it's going to start to become interesting. And, I mean, I don't know how long it would take. Honestly, I'll be kind of surprised if it's even in mine and your generation that we really can benefit from stuff from outside of the Earth. But that's coming.
You were just around the moon, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it's one thing to send 4 people flinging around the moon. It's another to go out there and do something that monetarily will come back to the company.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if we start building bases on the moon and can, somehow mine it or something, I don't even know what the hell you do up there. I'm sure there's stuff up there that you could utilize and or do whatever kind of tests they want to do in space. That I don't know. NASA is one of those things that like you don't realize as we're building stuff to handle those, like how those like things come down to the general consumer.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize until, I heard the story that power tools all came from, they were built for NASA. They needed stuff that would work, for the astronauts.
Yeah.
And, and then boom, all of a sudden we have power tools everywhere.
Yeah.
Like what a difference that makes.
It's very interesting. And I've been watching this group for a long time, and I took Rocket Lab back here on this day, 2nd of October, and that worked pretty well for me. But then I got stopped on one of these days. So PL Fly has been good now. I think Sattel, you have done a few trades in SATL, right?
Yeah, Saddle's been really strong.
Yeah. Lunar, Redwire. I wanted to get once again with the anchored VWAP. If you look at this day here, it touches the anchored VWAP perfectly, and the moving average is starting to go upwards. So I tried to get involved here, but I just mistimed everything. So yeah.
Hey Johnny, I'm just gonna run to the bathroom real quick, okay?
Yeah, I can go through the watch list I have now.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Yeah. So UAMY is still on my list because it did pull back here into the base. Preferably, I should have taken. I did take it actually on this day, 14th of April. Once again, based on same strategy, pull back to the anchored VWAP. But I mistimed it because I was a bit early, and then of course the next day I think it went up. Let's see where my entry was. Around here. It went up almost 15%. But it stayed up there. It wanted to break out properly here, and it didn't do it. So if it can come down again and maybe go back up, I will just keep monitoring it. SII is another one. I'm probably not going to do anything with this one. A little bit slow, 4.2 in ADR. The moving averages are a bit, close now, so maybe can have some kind of explosive move here, but yeah, I don't know. It's not one of the most exciting ones, I think. Same thing with the HYMC. I should have. I think you should have been in it from Thursday. But I'm gonna if it comes back again, maybe you get another setup opportunity here. This is a bank company, BBAR, foreign. That also once again look at the anchored VWAP. It just like on this day it touches it, this day it touches it, this day it touches it. So all of these days, maybe these two the most could have been like pullback buys, but very low volume. So I don't know about this, but if you include the base from this day here, it has moved sideways for quite a bit. But yeah, like I said, I'm fully invested, so I don't have funds right now to take anything. So I'm probably not going to do anything with these names. IBRX, I've been very successful in them before. I took it on one of these gaps. I can't remember which one. I think it was here. And I got stopped somewhere here. So I just saw that it was kind of creeping up again here. And the volume has been drying up and, you know, looks a little bit promising. There are some issues with this company, I think, in Saudi Arabia. I saw there was some news. Immunity Biofund pushes back after FDA warning letter over Antiva claims. Say ad never aired at all, so maybe some false advertising or something like that. I didn't look into it. But the reason they went up so much here was due to a lot of news about that they could start to sell their drugs in Saudi Arabia and also in Europe. So it has a lot of things going for it, but I haven't really followed the story since I was involved here. You back, Dane?
Yeah, I'm here, man.
Yeah. T-Rocks, chemicals. I'm not sure. I just probably gonna move more sideways. I saw a lot of the other chemicals, they had actually broken down a bit. So yeah, just watch it. Pump was the only oil company that I added on the today list that I'm gonna follow on Monday, because if like I said, I saw the news that Iran was closing the Strait back, and if that happens, maybe you get a good day with oil. So maybe Pump is one of the ones who's gonna go up here, but might as well also break down. So I just decided to take it on the list. But my plan for the coming week is just to manage my existing positions and play around with stop loss area. Yeah, Dane.
Yeah, I saw BE was doing pretty good.
Oh, BE, actually, I went into BE, but completely wrong timing. It has been moving very strong though.
Yeah. Yeah, I just saw that one day it had gapped up super huge. And I was like, oh wow.
Yeah. I know I mention this every time, but I owned it at 29 something.
You got to stop reminding yourself of that.
Yeah, I can't. It's just like 600%.
No, I know. There was a stock you pulled up earlier today, and I was like, yeah, you own that here, asshole.
Yeah, SSRM.
That's that was, I'm talking one that I owned, but that's another good example.
Oh yeah. But I've just accepted that you're gonna have so many stocks that are gonna be like that.
Yeah, at least it means you're in the right grouping.
Yeah, it's. I guess you can call it a mistake, but it's at the same time you did make money on it, you know.
Hey, it depends on what your rule is. If you got out on whatever your sell rule was, I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's going to be stocks that have gone up, 500% since you bought. And if you just had followed like a 20-day moving average, you would have been good. But like, do you always use 20-day moving average, or do you always use 10? Like that's one of the nuances that like you either have to pick one or the other, or you have to know the nuance well enough to which one you would use.
Yeah. No, I think all investors have some story like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know you got Tesla up now, but like Amazon, like there's so many companies that like, yeah, back in the day, it looked like such a great deal, but like it's so hard to justify, holding something for forever.
Yeah, I pulled up Tesla because in my head there was a Norwegian investor that has been widely successful, and he said he managed to get in on an IPO deal with Tesla, and I don't remember the price he said, but I think he said that he owned it at $20. That was before all the illusions and stuff,
Yeah.
He was probably in from the ground floor for Tesla, and he just sold it like 2 months after something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But still a hugely successful guy,
Yeah, the whole idea of getting a 100-bagger, that sounds alluring, but man, that's not easy to do.
No, that's not easy to do.
Like
It-
that's
it-
really not as easy as it sounds to do.
Yeah, you kind of have to just buy it, be lucky because you bought the right one, and just sit on it.
Like if you just took like $1,000 every week and just kept buying companies, and then just let them sit for forever. That's maybe the only way I could see something like that working, and just accept that some of those are going to be worth nothing after 30 years, and some of them are going to be worth probably a lot.
Yeah.
But most companies, how long do most companies survive? Like I feel like the average length of companies is like it's not as long as you think.
We have just seen 2025 and also before. This is not something new either, but it's been very led by the mega cap, right? So the indices is like what drags the indices forward are maybe just a handful of companies, really, and then you have all the other ones that we are dealing in short term period. A lot of them will just end up not existing anymore.
Right.
Most of them.
Average lifespan of an S&P 500 company is only 15 to 18 years.
Yeah.
So most of these things you shouldn't even be holding. I mean, if that's true, on average, most of them you should be holding.
No, you shouldn't. So it's so easy when
And that
you
number
look.
keeps shrinking.
Yeah, because the competition must get so. Didn't I send you something about was it Apple who bought up some? I don't remember what it was, Dane.
Well, that's one of the things it had just said was mergers and acquisitions are a big part of that because some bigger fish just eat you.
Yeah. I saw Netflix, they dropped on it was actually a positive earnings report. I don't know what made it drop, but it did come back up. Netflix was early on one of the charts that I noticed in February because it looked very strong, but it hasn't. I'm not sure if you can say that it has delivered since then, but it did get above the 200-day moving average. Then come the reports and it dropped almost 10%. So I don't know, it's a bit broken here, but let's see.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of these bigger caps, they're just trying to find a new stabilized ground.
Yeah.
Because probably for the first time in a long time, the Mag 7 was not a good hold.
Yeah.
Now that they might all just bounce back and hit all-time highs, so it's not that big of a deal. But things have been moving around a little bit, I would say.
NVIDIA once again super strong, coming back here now.
Well, it's just leading. I mean, NVIDIA, NVIDIA still just leads everything right now. There's really, and the progress that NVIDIA showed in terms of increasing the capacity is continuing to kind of amaze. So, Jensen's he's a pretty interesting person.
Yeah. I didn't see this, but Meta is getting some good volume coming in here.
Yeah, they said what's his name's been in there coding and working on AI for like incessantly the past like month.
Yeah, I saw some reports that Zuckerberg is he has kind of moved into the AI group and started to code himself again.
Yeah.
So
everybody's trying to find their place as we move forward here.
Yeah. But a lot of positivity. I think it's hard to not be positive here. You should still be careful, just because what we said initially, that this is kind of like, I see a lot of people, they say they have been trading for a long time and they've never seen this before, like this type of move. Like there's nothing slowing it down. So you're probably gonna get some sideways move or even a drop soon, but just do your scans, I think, and stay on top of things, and look for setups that you like to trade. I just remember when I looked at this chart on the QQQ day that we didn't talk about car.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen car?
Yeah. No, I've been. You pointed it out to me, so I kept watching it. But yeah, what a ridiculous chart.
Yeah. Together with Harritz, which is another car leasing company. Oh no, that was the wrong ticker. Hold on, let me find it.
What was the other one?
Yeah, there we go.
Hertz?
HTZ. Yeah.
Yeah, Hertz.
You know, car. Look at car. Car is dragging with dragging Hertz up, right? And car, I see a lot of traders. They've tried to short it every day, and just it's gonna happen sometime. But it just like this move is insane. Let me check the short interest actually right now.
I would think it's low if you try to like this is one of the ones that really mess with long shorts.
It's
Or
26%.
like when it's parabolically long.
This is reported end of March, so it's a bit old, but then the number is 26% of the float.
Well, those guys all got smoked.
Yeah, so that's a big part of this move is a short squeeze, right?
Imagine you're holding that position thinking it's going to return.
Yeah, think that you survived this initial one up to the 200-day moving average, which is a 50% move, and then it comes back down, and maybe you short it again, you know.
That's what they did in GameStop.
Yeah, almost 300% since.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, this is like yeah. But what's more wild is like it reminds me a little bit of the QQQ.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe cars leading the index.
Yeah, I think they will. Car leasing.
Yeah, I don't know
companies.
what's going on there.
No,
I don't know why. Is everyone taking rental cars right now? What's going on?
I have no idea.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
I did read a little bit. They have been working on improving fundamentals, of course, like everyone tries to. But I saw a lot of people said the fundamentals was pretty bad. I didn't check them in my sheet, so I haven't done it like properly. But I read something about that they have actually improved the fundamentals a bit, so that you can see some signs that they are trying to move in the right direction. But I don't think that justifies a move like this at all. So it's just ridiculous at this point. Just refuse to go
yeah,
down.
I wonder if this is just a battle between shorts and longs, because it also I saw 3 days ago. It says Avis's short interest soars above 40%.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think that's the only narrative here. Like this is a short squeeze all the way.
Hertz was at 50%. Avis was at 53%.
Okay.
So I think it was just a strong short position, you know, in probably a company that's not doing well, timed terribly to when the market turned.
Maybe it was Citron again.
Maybe. Yeah, I actually haven't looked at these numbers. Lucid Group is at 52%. Yeah, some of these are pretty high, but yeah, that's why.
Oh yeah, are you using the highshortinterest.com?
That was just a news article from Benzinga, which is, you know, a bullshit.
Yeah.
thing,
Because Hertz is on the second place there with the 48, like you said. You said 50, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that webpage, but
I can't find car here though.
yeah, the car was even higher. Car was at 52 whenever it was measured.
as a swing trader, that is, well, I see NVTS actually has a big short position.
I wonder how
that's
much of the actual index do you think was because people were short the index and they're just getting wiped out?
Yeah, it's a good question. I saw some people were trying to do it. I think I don't know the ticker, but SQQQQ. I assume that's a short. Yeah,
Version
short.
of it.
Yeah. So I saw Ariel Hernandez. He said he put on a short on, I think yesterday, on the QQQQ because he expected like a 3% drop, so he just wanted to balance out. If he was correct on that, he wanted to balance out the losses he will take on his already existing positions, like a hedge.
It's ballsy, man. I would be waiting until it had broke some moving averages, because yesterday it still just respected the moving averages incredibly strong.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
Like I was watching intraday, and it wasn't until it finally broke around 1 o'clock. And even then, though, it's still, I don't know what this moving, because there's a respectable line around 244 that it kind of held at, and then ended the day up from there above the moving averages again.
Yeah.
So, and
also,
funny enough, too, I remember looking at when it started to break above on Wednesday, thinking that would be, on Thursday, it was kind of a weaker bit of a day, so I thought it was going to slow down then, and then Friday it still pushed.
Yeah, and Thursday was a crazy day because it did go up and down all day, and then it finished pretty heavily up in the end. And I was gonna say also, like when you had that day on Thursday, and then not only that, but on Friday you get a gap up. You can interpret it in many ways, but yeah, maybe we will come down and fill that gap. Ariel said 3%, which will be, some of the top wicks on the base here. Yeah, let's see. I'm not going to try to predict anything. I'm just, like I said, I'm going to keep my focus on managing the positions that I have, and I hope that today and tomorrow won't be, some surprising news or something for the worse. And that
that is the over the weekend risk.
Yeah, but like we started the stream with saying, last time there was some news, the market didn't care at all.
Yeah, I have a hard time thinking it's going to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We don't know. That's the
motto.
That's the motto, I think.
Gotten us here.
I think I put it in the description today. Like, where is the QQQ going next? You won't get the answer here. No.
Turns from a V to a W.
Yeah. Then we will have a new name for the next stream.
It's always up and to the right.
Yeah, and we all know that W stands for winning. So
yeah, we need a win.
Yeah, we need a win. All right, I think I've gone through everything that I've been watching since I started to come back again. Have we missed something, Dane?
No, I mean, I would just like to point out, I think small cap looks pretty strong. Most of the speculative names are, enjoying this jump from the overall indexes. I think, like you were saying, miners, I think metals and stuff, it looks like it's starting to push back up. It looks pretty strong.
Yeah.
I know I had sent you that one post. I found it interesting that
I was gonna say.
The gold miners and stuff from China have been skyrocketing. They're at all-time highs. And I find it interesting that the US is so divergent from that, just on the fact that really all that comes from is, comparison to either the dollar and or to inflation of some sort.
Yeah.
Because it's not like gold's doing anything. It's just kind of a hold of value. So it's interesting to me that either that or it's just, I guess, maybe delayed compared to the US. But
Yeah, maybe.
But at the same time, too, I don't. It's not like inflation's really slowed down. If anything, you could argue the oil issue here has caused it to spike again a little bit. So I would be surprised if you don't see some of that stuff still start to push higher. I
Yeah.
think that's a pretty bullish section. Yeah, and you know, like I said, I'm interested to see where we go next week. I've had some good days, so I just want to keep it up and see if we can push even higher.
Yeah. It's been a very exciting time, and fully aware that things can turn, but
Yeah,
I'm
there
very,
will be a correction.
yeah, yeah. But so far, I'm very happy with how I've been keeping to my plan for the year and like my rules, you know.
Yeah.
So that is a big improvement from last year, where I kind of missed the start of the bull market, and I definitely missed a lot of the leaders and strong stocks because I didn't have my scanning process in order and my list system and all that stuff. I've just been more accurate this year in terms of that, but still many months left, so it needs to hold all the way in, but let's see.
All right. Well, I hope everybody has a good rest of your week. Johnny, we'll be on next week, correct?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else, so should be on, yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
And just a couple of months now, Dane, and the World Cup starts.
The what?
The World Cup in football.
Oh, yeah.
We are very excited. You know, my country has not participated in a World Cup since 1998.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
So we are very excited we are in the group with Iraq, Senegal, and France.
Gotcha.
Going to be a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough group.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Hockey playoffs and basketball playoffs start this weekend, so
Lots of
there's a lot to look
things.
forward to sports wise.
Yeah, that's good.
And yeah, there's a UFC tonight. I mean, I got a lot to do. It's gonna be a good weekend.
It's important to focus on other things too, right?
Yeah, actually, it's like one thing. Part of it's work-life balance, and you know, and also too, like I said, I've transitioned more to the strategy, which it does give you some more time to like focus on other things, and sometimes just the markets themselves can become kind of overbearing in your mental thought. So like it's good to have other things to distract you almost. Because like I almost feel like sometimes I get like antsy on the weekends because I like the markets are closed and like I'm just curious what's going to happen Monday.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like you're sitting there and it just gives you time to kind of think about things and how things are and you know what the next week might bring and you keep taking it week by week. But yeah, I'm just trying to keep my brain from sitting here overthinking anything, you know, because you just drive yourself nuts.
I was gonna say like you can overcomplicate things by continue to learning, you know, because you get so many new inputs and stuff you want to maybe implement in your strategy. But if you look at the big traders like Kulamagi and all those, they are focused on the opposite, and I think this goes for, you know, artists, music artists and stuff like that. Like they want to do less. They want to take off things because they have added too many complicated things. They want to strip things down to make things more simple. And I think that's an important point to keep in mind as you are learning, to always try to keep things as simple as you can. your process, but
Yeah.
high quality.
Yeah,
That's not
you,
easy.
you have to just find the few, you know, things that seem to work, and then work on improving those. You know,
Yeah.
I think that's where you can really benefit from that kind of thing. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm up. I told you, I don't know if I've said on the stream, but I'm up about 13% right now for the year.
Yeah.
So if I
Very
can
good.
keep that up, we should be shooting for 40 would be the goal by the end of the year. We just stay even. Although I've most of these gains have been in the most recent, you know, few weeks. Like I said, I've been slowly just gaining each week. So if I can just even stay at that rate, that would be great. So
Yeah, this past couple of weeks have also made me understand like how Kulamagi has said, like in these periods it's easy to double your count. You know how he speaks, like it's obviously not easy, but it's possible.
right. Yes.
So yeah. All right.
All right.
We are ending with some hope. And
That's
then
about all we
then comes Monday and everything crashes.
Yeah, there'll be something horrendous that happens and everything will go back down.
Yeah. Actually, I take it back. We are not ending with some hope here. We are we are quite bearish right now.
Yes, back to bearish.
Yeah.
It changes that easy.
Yeah. All right. See you next weekend then. Enjoy.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll be back on. Bye.